Welcome back to the channel. Just getting on with some more of my nonsense. Why do kids' birthdays parties suck so much? Why have things degraded to this? This is a celebration of a child's birthday. I mean, one could argue this is a hazing because the piñata is not supposed to be this hard to bust. Two or three, you used to be able to break them with a broom handle. That's it. Little thin piece of wood, busted up, and everything comes out. The kids rushed to get the candies, prizes, what have you in there. Now it's basically punishing the child. This much work to get a prize, I feel is hazing. I feel parents have lost the the true intent of birthday celebrations for especially and specifically children. I think they lost the plot. And now they've become so bored or so distant from the true meaning of celebrating a child's birthday that they've devolved into cruel parenting. Why is that? Why have parents taken to this type of treatment for someone that they love? Maybe this is the reason why. I put AI to work just to see if what I believe to be was actually real or not. And I just typed in from the beginning of time, why do we celebrate birthdays? And just looking at the highlighted sections, you can read everything in totality if you choose to. Starting from ancient rituals tied to divinity, astrology, and protection against evil, and gradually becoming the personal, joyful events we know today. Early humans did not track individuals' birthdays precisely. Why wouldn't they track their birthdays precisely? From 3000 BCE to 500 CE, birthdays originated as elite or divine events of pharaohs or gods in Egypt and Mesopotamia. Now, I know this is coming out of left field, but maybe this is the reason why there's a lot of suffering. Maybe because it wasn't meant for everybody. It was specifically started for certain individuals and slowly got to everybody else, down to the common folk. Everything else led cultures to postpone naming, presentation, or celebratory ceremonies until survival was probable, sometimes weeks, months, or even years after birth of the children. Why would they wait so long? Why would they postpone the naming or even letting other people get to look at the child? These events emphasize life's fragility, serving as rites of passage for survivors rather than annual traditions. In many societies, children weren't fully counted until they passed high risk infancy. Now, that threw me off for a second. I was like, I've heard of high risk pregnancy. What's high risk infancy? Child mortality. Child mortality rates were extremely high. This is just in recorded times. Annual birthday parties for children were rare or non existent for most. Any celebrations tied to a child's early life were based on rituals focused on survival or gratitude for making it past infancy. They often delayed until the child seemed likely to live. Wasn't just celebrating just for the sake of celebrating. Let's all come together. No, this was postponed until they was like, oh well, looks like the child is going to make it past days, weeks, months, 2 years, because a significant portion of children died young. In the 1800s, recorded certain areas, not globally, up to 30% of children died before their first birthday, and 43% of them before the age of 5 during the Tudor period. Estimates suggest 30% mortality before age 1 and 40 to 50% before age 5. Why, you say? Because of disease, malnutrition, and poor sanitation made investing emotionally and materially impractical and heartbreaking for many individuals. So it wasn't just to celebrate just for the sake of celebrating. It was to celebrate because, again, because they made it. They passed a milestone that was known throughout the villages, the neighborhoods, the streets, within the family. Most children did not make it. That's why they had large amounts of children back then, which is ironic now that diseases are lessened, malnutrition isn't, well, poor nutrition is a big thing, and poor sanitation has kind of been knocked to the wayside. Now we got people who are terminating pregnancies just because.
Why does that matter? Why does that matter?
Okay, I'm getting a little sidetracked, but it's just to show that when there's a lack, there's a high propensity to A, have more children, and B, not get tied or attached to them because they didn't know they were going to live. Skipping down a little bit, childhood was brief, with kids entering work early and high mortality, similar to the rates cited earlier. They discourage annual celebrations to mitigate grief. But now we have celebrations just cause, giving kids, they not even giving kids, just basically participation trophies for I have a child, so let's everybody get together and celebrate it. No celebration that the child made it past a milestone or anything. It's just because. Now, the kids didn't come up with this by themselves. This is something that they seen somebody else do at another party, or it was done to them when they were the younger one. But who encouraged this type of behavior? Who said that this is what a birthday celebration is about? It's the parents. They have no idea why they're doing what they're doing, so they've let things get to the point of where children are getting hurt at your birthday party. How does that not go with you forever and ever and ever?
A lo que yo vine fue a esto.
I mean, the kids are doing it with a smile because they think it's funny because the parents have convinced them that this is funny, that this is how you treat the birthday boy or girl at their birthday. You're the older sibling or you're the sibling, doesn't matter. And this is what you do. This is the byproduct of the adults, generations over generations, that have lost the plot as to why they have started celebrating children's birthdays. That's a mother. That's a mother doing that to her own child. That you don't think that carries into adulthood?
Hey, on your own, and here it goes.
She was going to town on that table. She is pissed at the mother and father, I believe, who did that to her, mushed her face in the cake. How is that fun? That's along the lines of the what happens at weddings. Why would you destroy the makeup and hair and outfit that the bride is wearing to mush the cake in her face, or vice versa, the the lining up and the grooming and the rental maybe, or whatever, the outfit the groom wears, and just erect that with cake. How is that funny? And you know she was hot with that child. You know she spent all that money. She got all these people together for this celebration, and this is how he treated her. He threw her money away. because she thought it was funny. They've lost the plot. They're doing things because they don't know why they're celebrating children's birthdays.
Oh my God.
The fact that this has just permeated everywhere, especially in the West, just shows that people have lost touch with what the children making it past a certain age is truly about. Just because of all the medications and the better plumbing and all these other things that made it to where children can survive, they just said, we're going to store all of the sensible things to do on a child's birthday. And I'm gonna just be honest. I am not big on celebrating my birthday. I do and have celebrated children's birthdays, including my own. But I don't celebrate my birthday. Well, let me say, I don't feel the need to celebrate my birthday. So maybe that's where this is coming from. I don't think so. I think that the videos that have shown prove that parents have lost the plot as to what birthdays for kids is truly about. It's supposed to be about that they made it. Child mortality used to be a big issue worldwide. Now they're just celebrating and trying to find new ways to make it interesting or fun or memorable. You're just supposed to be glad that your child made it past year 1, past year 3, past year 5. That's all you're supposed to be happy about. You're not supposed to be just, oh, well, I got to blow all this money and do all of this to make sure that the child, because I didn't have a birthday and my birthday sucked, and I need to make sure that my child doesn't suffer how I suffered as a child. It ain't about that. You're supposed to be glad that they made it, period, dot.
I'll see that little girl snatch that girl up after she blew her candles out. She looked at her and said, I know you did not blow my motherfucking birthday candles out. Snatch! That is how you handle that situation right there. You let that little girl go off. No, you did not blow out my birthday candles. Why do people think that's okay?
Look to where the psychology of one could argue has taken these birthday celebrations for young children. I think she's a teen, maybe. But look at where it has gone to, where you are willing to fight over a candle being blown out because it's tied to superstition more than anything. And I don't think a vast majority of people are super religious to the point to where, oh, well, you're blowing the candle out. This is sacrilege. You have offended my family and cursed us for the next 100 years because you blew out the candle that was a means to protect the child. We're nowhere near that in this world, especially in the West. But they're sanctioning fighting over blowing a candle out.
Why do children think that's okay? Did their parents used to do it to them? Or
Yep.
are they jealous because it's not their celebration and their
Nope.
birthday? And if I
Well, let me take that back. Maybe there is some jealousy because it's the one day where every child can see where they stand in a household, especially when you have children, multiple children in a household. If it is not, if it is not match for match, step for step for every child, the children are going to feel different about it. Leading up to the birthday, at the birthday party, and after the birthday party, they're going to feel it because, oh, well, if you have money for one child, but you don't have the money for the other child, then of course the child is going to feel upset. So yeah, it couldn't be some jealousy, but who started that? The children or the parents who are throwing the parties for the children? Not because, oh, well, they made it to a certain age, but because, oh, I got to go out all out for my child.
was that little girl's parent, the one that blew those candles out, we would be outside handling business. It wouldn't be no smiling. It wouldn't be funny. You just messed somebody's birthday up. Y'all need to start whooping these kids' asses. This gentle parenting doesn't seem like it's working. Because let me do that to my sister. or somebody like my cousin. The way I would have got an ass whooping from my grandma down, from my aunties to my mama, baby. But all in all, as Vicky would say, she handled it the right way. And nobody should have jumped in the middle, snatch all her hair out her head, get every birthday wish you desire.
Snatch hair out. Fist fights. Stomp them out. This is where things have degraded because parents, the public, has lost the plot on what a birthday is truly about. It's not about celebrating them because they are that individual. Is celebrating the fact that they made it to an age that a majority, not a super majority, of children did not make it at one point in time. But this is where things have degraded. This is sad that children are traumatized, A, by their parents, B, by older siblings, C, by relatives, D, fill in the blank. But the children are being traumatized and they carry that into adulthood. That's the sad part. And I'm going to do a video on adults, the suffering of adults on their birthdays, predominantly because they carry this stuff from what happens in childhood. Parents are setting the bar so high for their children that they have basically handicapped them, because the parents are going so full throttle on these celebrations for 1-year-olds all the way up to the 16-year-olds, just because I gotta spend this money, I gotta go in debt, I gotta use Klarna, and I gotta use those other payment programs where you payments are done in multiple installments just for a birthday party. And then they become adults who have been groomed to believe that this is how their birthdays are supposed to be, always, every time. And they're miserable. Mostly females, but they're miserable nonetheless. This is not helpful. They're cursing these children by doing these celebrations specifically because they're doing it for all the wrong reasons. And mind you, it's really a participation trophy. Everybody has a birthday. But you're supposed to be celebrating the fact that they survived, not that they had a birthday. Anyway, part 2 is coming shortly, and I'm going to be dealing with the adults and their birthdays that suck to high hell. Thank you. Consider liking, subscribing, and commenting, or sharing.